what would you say to someone who's just come to the realization it's a problem for them and they have no idea how to go about stopping?
Yeah. Well, once you've come to the realization yourself and you've had that conversation or you've admitted it to yourself, that's a problem. I believe the next step is to have a conversation with somebody else. I think you recruit some form of accountability or support into your corner. And it does two things. The first thing I think it does is it removes the shame that you'd be feeling about it. A lot of guys struggle with this. They're unwilling to talk about it because they're living in shame. They're like, what happens if so and so finds out about what I'm doing? How are they going to view me? How are they going to judge me? How are they going to look at me? And that's us looking like less at ourselves. So I think once you begin to open up and talk with somebody about it, now granted, don't go just knock on your neighbor's door and have a conversation with him. Like find a person that you can trust in, right? You know, a trusted mentor, a coach, maybe a pastor, somebody that you know actually wants good for you. And just had that conversation. I think a lot of men, what they realize, and this was my story, like I had no clue who I was going to talk to about this. And I went to all of my friends, like once again, very high profile, very successful men, thinking that I was going to share something with them that they'd heard for the first time. And every single one of them was like, dude, it's okay. Like they literally put their arm around me and said, we got you through this, man. We've struggled with it. I mean, it's every man's problem. Like 70% of the men in the world have had to overcome or struggle with this, or have had to at least battle it themselves. So finding the right guy that you can talk to shows you that you're not the only one, and it gets you the support and accountability that you need. I mean, why do people hire Coach Brandon to help them get in shape? If you want to get in shape, all the information to get in shape is for free online. You could find it in a quick 10-minute search on YouTube, everything that your program has. But there's something about a community, there's something about support, there's something about accountability, and knowing that other people are bought into your success just as much as you are. So once you've admitted it to yourself, I believe the next step is just to find that person that's going to walk this journey with you.
Yeah, and that makes so much sense too. Like because that's tough. That's tough to, and I mean, you can explain a little more about like why that helps, why sharing with someone else helps. But I mean, like I said, I've listened to a lot of your work, and I understand why. And at first, when I heard what you were doing, I was like, man, that would be tough, like a tough sell to sell guys into a program. But now I totally understand. It's really the community aspect, and then again, yeah, it relates to what I do as well, the step-by-step guidance.
Yeah, and even Dr. Anna Lemke talked about this. We're going to keep mentioning that podcast. Hopefully, we get a lot of downloads on the Anna Lemke episode. But she talks about the importance of just radical honesty and how when you begin to be truthful with yourself and or others, you begin to rewrite narratives in your mind. I mean, if you've been secretly consuming pornography for a long time, while you may not be telling people lies like verbally, like this is a lie, you are withholding truths from them. And a withholdal of the truth, in my opinion, is a lie. It's a different form of a lie. So you've been walking around, and this was me for 20 years. I lived a double life. Nobody knew everything about Frank Rich. Even the women that I was dating and I was in relationships with, there were always parts of who I was that was being withheld. So I walked around as a liar everywhere that I went. When you begin to get radically honest, like repentance type of honesty, like this is everything that I've done, and I don't care what you think about it because, hey, nobody's perfect, man. And I think that's a lot of things too, is like people think that there's like this perfect human being out there somewhere. Everybody's got their own issues, man, in battles and struggles that they're going through. But there's a power behind, like from literally reprogramming and rewiring your brain. When you begin to actually share truth and radical honesty, you begin to form new patterns of thinking in the way that you tell stories and the way that you view and see yourself from a subconscious level. So yeah, there's a lot that's built into that radical honesty piece, which is why it's become such a big term. Like look at all the big influencers out there. I mean, you and I go to these business conferences. Like we were in Nashville for 3 days, and it's like here at a business event, it's like the core theme of that event was, are you who you say you are? Like the truth behind all of that. So there's real power behind this, not just from an overcoming an addiction, but actually succeeding in all areas of your life, I believe.